Hello, and welcome to another game development broadcast for Project CSK. As usual, of course, I am the creator of the project, and the online name that I go by is Des. We're going to continue working on the project like I have been doing for pretty much a good amount of time now, regularly on Tuesdays and Fridays. And the new thing that I'm still kind of trying and experimenting with is multicasting onto YouTube, which is kind of nice, I think. It's a bit different, but I'm experimenting with it, of course. And you're welcome to watch this broadcast on either platform, whichever works best for you. So you have the choice of Twitch or YouTube. Twitch, you're basically locked into 1080p. 30 FPS, whereas YouTube allows you to switch between the resolution. So if you want to maybe turn down the resolution or have it at max, whatever works best for you works best for me. But YouTube gives you that option, but whichever you choose is entirely fine with me. Options are good. Anyway, so we're going to continue working on the project, and I've been focusing quite a bit on the UI and the input. The way that the UI navigation and inputs work, because it needs to be cross-platform compatible, because it's something that is really important, not just cross-platform, but cross-input. So it works well with mouse, keyboard, right, as well as touchscreen and gamepad, right? Which is why I went through quite a bit of effort in creating a system that allows it not just to only work with all three inputs or all four inputs, if you want to think about it that way, but it's easy to modify, right? So we're at that point where the results are finally tangible for the UI, and I'm quite pleased with it. It's come a long way. And it's at a point where it's easy to modify for the most part, but it's easy to just like add new stuff to it in terms of not code, but I mean like in terms of adding new content pages or new navigation segments to the navigation itself. It's quite easy to do, and the navigation is working so well. And I'm mostly testing with the arrows on my keyboard and just the mouse, but that's pretty much the same, right? Because when you use a gamepad, you're going to be using either the D-pad or the analog stick, and it's the same. It's a really good user experience, and that's exactly what I want, because I personally plan on playing this game later when it's playable with you guys online, and I'll be playing it likely on my phone or a tablet with either, if it's my tablet, probably my Xbox or PlayStation controller connected to it over Wi-Fi, and then if it's my phone, I want to try and experiment with different things. I want to get one of those telescopic controllers, you know, the ones where you slide it open and your phone kind of sits in the middle of it and it nests in there. I like that style. It's more of like a Nintendo Switch kind, or if you think about it, kind of like the new Steam Deck. I like that usability, right? That way you have the control buttons on the left and right side, but then what you also get is you get a actually, let me just show you. I think, I don't have my browser open. I always forget something. Let me just snap that. And if you're not familiar with Windows snapping, highly recommend it. So you hold down Window, right? And then when you have an application that has focus, you can hold down the window button and then press left, and it'll snap to the left half of your screen vertically. But then from there, if you wanted to just go to a quadrant while still holding Windows down, you can press up or down and it'll snap, right, to that quadrant. So now your application is perfectly fit within a quadrant of your desktop screen real estate. So that works really well. And it works well for me because I'm using a 4K monitor and I have it split into 4 quadrants. So when I flip stuff around, I'm showing you guys another quadrant. Like this is the bottom left quadrant. This would be the top left quadrant. this would be the top right quadrant, right? So it just makes it really easy, but then I get to see it all at like a big overview. So let's go with telescopic controller. Yeah, so these things. I can't speak from experience on any of these, but I think there was, so this one's kind of a popular one. And then so is, there's a bunch of these. I would say some of them are definitely better quality than others, but I just think it's a neat idea. That way it gives you a bit more versatility. And some, I think most are both Android and iOS compatible. This one is probably currently the most popular one. It comes from a big name brand, Razer. I don't know if that means anything. To be honest, I have not used one of these before, and I would like to give it a try, but I don't know. We'll see. But that's down the line. But like these are the things that I consider in terms of when I say controller support, right? So we want to support this, and of course we want to support a standard like Xbox or PlayStation controller, either wired or Bluetooth. Both should work fine, and that's what I test: is both wired and wireless on my own devices that I choose to test on. Of course, I don't have an Apple device, so I can't really test it on that, but I do have Android. So that's mostly what I do my testing on is Windows and Android, but it will be fully cross-platform compatible because Unity can export to pretty much any device, or not any, that's not right to say, but most devices natively. So it could run natively on Android. It can run natively on Apple devices or Mac OS X. It can run natively on Linux operating systems, right? It's just because it can export to it. Anyway, enough about that. So what I've been doing is I've been, like I said, focusing a lot on the UI stuff because that's really important right now. And it's come a long way, and it's gotten to a point where I'm quite pleased with it. And I recently implemented some more functionality, or should I say, I'm always implementing more functionality, but specific functionality. So now this is still not quite where I want it to be in terms of being in a position where I can move on from it. But so from this point on, right, we'll use this screen. I can navigate. So this is with the arrows, and it works very well. So if we go into the friends list, you can see that this works really well in terms of the friends list. I don't have any friends that are online right now, but if a friend was to come online, like for example, oh, sorry, one sec. Okay, so now I'm going to log in as one of the other accounts, test accounts. Okay, so a friend of mine should have come. Oh, I always forget about that detail. Okay, sorry. I need to allow logins first. And that's something that I had to implement quite some time ago. So basically, I have to log in and use the mod account. That's fine. Do a login. I need to say allow a member login true. Invalid command, of course. Allow members login. Of course, I get it wrong again. What was it? It was allow login members true. There we go. Okay, that's all I need to do. So with that, now I can log in on the Flash client, but I'm really, they're both connecting to the same on my local system. It's the same socket server. All right, so from here, you can see that I don't have any friends online. So I enabled the sort as well. So the sort is working correctly. So from here, you'll see what happens when one of my friends come online. Right? So it jumps up to the top of the list, and that's because it's sorting the items, they're sorted with two sorting parameters. If you think about it kind of like an SQL query, right? It's being sorted in order from online and by name, right? So because this one is online, it jumps up to the top of the list, whereas the rest of them are still alphabetically sorted, but they're all offline. So it really creates a nice little usability. And then from here, you can, if you press enter, it comes up the circular menu. So I brought this back. Now it's working. So the circular menu, of course, is another one that I really like in terms of functionality wise. It works really, really well for gamepad support, touchscreen support, mouse and keyboard. It just works so well. So now we have that. And then if my friend, of course, goes offline, oh, what did I do with that? So if my friend goes offline, it syncs. Oh, that finger still stays with them. That's funny. But okay, either way, you get the idea. So that's friends. And then same idea with guild, right? I don't have 5 people, so I can't vertically scroll, but it does work. It's using the same scroll component, which you saw me work on in the previous broadcast. And from here, I can go in and I can change the ranking. So you can go into here, you can message. I know the colors are not quite there, like that background should be a bit darker, I think. That way it would allow a better differentiation between the foreground and the background. But those are visual things that I'll get to a bit later. So from here, you'd be able to message, you'd be able to party invite, you'd be able to add friend if they're not already on your friends list. The icons and all of that stuff, they're not completed yet, of course. You can remove the person from the guild if you have the permission to do so, which is of course only the owner and the guild captains. But you can also change a person's ranking. So this person right now is a new guy. We can change his ranking to member, right? And then the icon changes to match the individual. So that functionality is working. I'll change him back to new guy. But yeah, so this is the idea. This is why I put quite a bit of effort into the UI because I'm doing all of this just by using the arrows on the keyboard and the enter button. And of course, we'll get into much more complex things later, but the UI is there, the functionality is there, and it can handle it. That's the important thing, is that there's a lot of reusable code here that does what it's supposed to, and it does it well. That's the important part, right? It's not perfect. It's never going to be perfect. So, but I really like the scrolling as well. So the next one that I want to do is this here, which is the people who are in this lobby. I don't even know if I'll use this logic, but because it existed from before, it's just something that gives me an opportunity to test it to make sure that it works. And then later on, if I decide I don't want it, that's fine. I can either just disable it or remove it or repurpose it even, right? Because there's going to be lobbies, different kinds of lobbies at a later time for the game, because it is a multiplayer game, of course. So the logic isn't going to be wasted, right? It's still something that's going to be of value, right? So I want to do the same, and this one is incomplete right now. This is kind of where I last left things off when I was working on it on my own, offline, not during a broadcast. That's what I was working on. So right now I'm stuck in terms of the UI, like any directions that I press on the keyboard don't do anything, but of course I can just click away with the mouse. So what I want to do is do a similar thing like this, but I don't need the indicator that shows online, offline. That's used both in the guild and inside of the friends. And this one, basically, I need to make a smaller version of this. And I kind of have it ready, but not really. So this one here, I'm going to repurpose this. But I'm also going to bring in that component that I made, the scroll view. So this one is still using the legacy one. So is this area here. So is this area here. But that's for a later time, right? I don't want to get to these quite right now. I want to focus on this part here. and bring this one up so it's using the latest scroll view and latest logic for this stuff, which works very well. And that's where we're going to continue. So that's the point we're going to continue from right now. So what I want to do is go into my scenes lobby. Nope, lobby. I say lobby, but I click on the other one. Just habit, I guess. Okay, what we can do is hide this. So Shift Alt A, if you're not familiar with that shortcut, really nice. It just toggles this checkbox up here, but it's just a shortcut to do it, right? These little shortcuts, they make a world of difference, right? Just like how you can hold Control and press D to duplicate an item, those little things make a lot of difference over time. Okay, so we'll go to the home, and then we'll go into, actually, I want to go into this prefab. So if you hold Alt and you click on this little arrow, you go into the prefab in this state. But if you just click on this arrow on its own, it takes you in this state. And I almost never want to work in this state. Some scenarios, yeah, but 99% of the time, you're going to want to go into this state so it's isolated, just because it behaves differently. I can't quite put it into words, but the prefabs, they behave differently while in this state than in this state, right? So something to keep in mind, which is what resulted in me always going into here in this state. And of course, you can achieve the same by just right-clicking, saying prefab, and then open asset in isolation is the Alt method. Open asset in context mean where we are right now. So what I usually use, like I said, I use 99% of the time, open asset in isolation. And the other nice one that's really helpful is select asset. So if you want to see where you have it in your folder structure, you select asset. I don't know the shortcut for that. I'm sure there is one, but if you know what it is, please share with me because I'd like to know. Okay, so what we're going to do is go over here and then navigate to this section here. I don't want the user self-information, so we'll hide that with our shortcut, and then we'll enable this one. Okay, so this is the one that I'm going to work on. So from this point, this is going to get disabled, right? So this canvas, we're going to drop that. We're going to bring in the new that prefab that I mentioned, which is awesome. It's a really good prefab. Okay, looks like we're good. For those of you that are new, hello and welcome. Feel free to say hi, I don't mind. Or if you're just here to hang out and watch me work on the project, that's perfectly fine too. I don't mind. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is I need to find that prefab, and I often forget what it's called, but it's something scroll view, component GUI scroll view. That's it right there. Okay, so we'll bring that in, drag and drop there. Of course, it's a little bit too big, which is fine, not a big deal. So you can see the size of it, but it's a prefab, right? So we can safely modify this instance of it without it affecting other areas. And I like to make it in a certain way because of the way that I use it. So I go into the nestings and I appropriately set these parameters that work well for me. Your mileage may vary depending on how you use these scroll view prefabs, but the way that I like it is I like the parent to be the controller that defines the size instead of the nested objects. And the result of that is that I can go in and I can modify the width and the height, right? And you can see the way that it scales, right? So it scales really well like this. Just as I say that, I see some strange behavior. So below this, it does this weird thing. Why would it do that? It's supposed to scale properly, but it's not a big deal. So the background, it currently doesn't scale because it's set to vertically scale, but that's because I'm doing a slight offset of position and width because I want to take into account the scroll bar. I don't want the scroll bar to be on top of the background. I want there to be a distinct separation between the two. So let's make this the appropriate size and see kind of what's going on here. Actually, let's reference the old one. So this one has width of 170 and height of 235. So we'll go here, width of 170, height of 235. Okay, so this actually should be centered. I'm not sure why it's not centering, but let's set the background first and then we'll see why it didn't center correctly then. So this one, background width will usually be about 20. Oh, okay, so it was centered. It was just an illusion. Okay, no, that's correct. So this will be at approximately 150. Still seems a little big. Did I really have the other one at that size? Width of 170. Okay, let me hide this, bring this one back. Okay, so this one, even the width of 170, okay, I must have measured that one slightly different. I want it to fall within the boundaries of the background that it's sitting on. You know what? Now that I think about it, I think it's the background that's slightly off because I see it extrude out slightly on this side, but less on this side. So if we go like this and we select this, no, that's correct. Okay. Not a big deal. I can see that that's correct, and that's the important part. So it's this background that's kind of throwing things off a little bit. Okay. Not a big deal. So we'll bring this down slightly. I wanted to have a little bit of spacing on the left and right side. So we'll bring it down to probably 160. I think 160 looks good. And then we'll go into the background and bring that down a tiny bit more. But then the position, because it is kind of offset a little bit, let's bring it down probably another 2. That looks about right. Looks about right. It seems a little bit off-centered. Let's find out where that centering is coming from. It's likely from the where's that background? Here. There we go. So this background, I think, is there. It is. That's what's causing that. So if we set this correctly, oh. So that was wrong this whole time and I didn't even notice it. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so that was wrong. That means that this needs to be offset. Yeah. So I made them, this should have had that offset of, what is it? Minus 0.1. Yeah. This should have had the offset, not the actual, okay. That's fine. So then this would be, it still needs to be minus 0.05. Yeah, okay, that works. So that works. Then how is this not centering? Now this is off. Do I have any offsets? Doesn't look like it. No. It should be perfectly centered. Okay, let's move those buttons into the correct position. Okay, so that's off by a tiny bit. Nope. It's got a little bit of a gap in between. I'm trying to it's the anti-aliasing. I think that looks close enough. I don't think anyone will really notice that. I don't think anyone will notice that for now. I'll come back and I'll make it perfectly aligned at a later time because I'm going to be changing the UI stuff anyway. And I'll be fixing it up and making it look even more polished than how it looks now. So now the question is, how come this didn't center though? That's what I don't quite understand. Because there is no, so the background is offset, that's correct. What if the background didn't have an offset? Nope. That's interesting. I'm not sure why. That should be centering perfectly. I'm overlooking a detail like I usually do. Something really, really minor. Position Y, that's fine. That's fine. Now it has to be at this point. At this point. Maybe it's just because of the content inside that it's kind of giving that illusion. Or is it centered? Oh, that's what it is. It's centered on the background. Right. Okay, that's my bad. It's centered on the background. That's what it is. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to center the whole thing. So this will need to go to, what's our total width? Width is 164. So if width is 164, the scroll bar is 20. So 164 minus 20 would give us 140. Our background should be 140, so that leaves 4 spare. So we should be able to use the 4 for the spacing. Offset, let's move this back. So how much do we want to move this back? It would be 164. minus 140. I can't count. Let's try 24. Okay, so 24 gives us all the way to the edge. So we don't want 24. We want to use that 2 padding. You know what? I can just offset it instead of trying to calculate this, because it doesn't really provide any value to me. Let's just go with minus 1, 2. So we have our spacing, have that. Then what we can do is just go here and offset it kind of where it needs to be. And we'll round that off. Okay. So with that in the correct position, so we have our scroll view. Okay, what I want to do then is I want to create that list item that kind of goes into the middle area, because that's an important piece of it. And I think we kind of already have one. And it is, what happened here? It should be users list. Where's the prefab? There we go. Okay, panel list item user. Okay, so this one here is now going to be changed. Does it have its own class? It does. Good. Okay, so this extends from mono behavior. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to make it extend from this class, because it already has all the functionality that we need. So it basically does everything this does. So we don't need any of this. This just needs to extend from here, and it will inherit all of that functionality. And then we can add additional functionality if we need to. So now it has all of this functionality, which is great. Let's see. It should have potentially given us some errors. Or maybe not. I think it would have just given us blank fields. There we go. Blank fields. Okay. So what we're going to do then is, do I even need to do this? I don't think I even need this object. So what I'm going to do is actually, because I've already done the work, I'm going to copy over one of the other ones that already has everything, and then I'll just manipulate it, because we're not going to be using this. Okay, so go to our prefab. Was this right? Yes, it was. Okay, so this will no longer exist, but I'll copy the name. Do you want to delete it? Yes, I do. Okay, so the one that I'm going to duplicate from is going to be the, what was it called? Something list item. The generic one. I seem to have two of these. Oh no, that's the guild one. I think this is the one that I want to duplicate from. Yeah. Okay, so what I'll just do is I'll duplicate this prefab and then rename it and then just use that prefab because I'm going to make some adjustments to it. And that's how I made the guild one too. It's because all that core functionality is there, right, in that base class that this extends from. Because they all extend from the same base class, I can pass them around as the base reference object, similar to how you would, not exactly the same, but if you think about it, it's a very similar way of how you would use an interface. You would use an interface to be able to pass around a reference that has very specific functionality exposed through the interface. The base class behaves the same way. And that's kind of how I'm using it. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar in the way that I'm using it, enough so that it gets me the functionality that I want without having to do all these other workarounds. I found that this works well. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take this object and we're going to duplicate it. So Control D to duplicate, F2, rename it, done. Okay, but this one, we're not going to have the online, offline buttons. So I'm going to take those out. And then what I'm going to do is we need to take into consideration the size of the of this space. So the width, I believe I said, was 140, right? Because we need the background, right? Because it's going to go into the background area. So if the background is 140, we want to leave a little bit of space on the right side and on the left side. So probably just 1 pixel or maybe 2 pixels. So then our object that we want to work on is going to be either 138 or 136 in terms of width. And then the height will keep the same. So let's do that. Our object is going to replace this one. So instead of this, it will be the I already forgot what the name of it was. What was the name of it? That's what it was. Okay, so we will drag and drop this in. Drag and drop it into here, and that's our prefab that we're going to use. Okay, so let's adjust the width. The nice thing is that it's a 9-slice background, so we can easily adjust the width. So 170 is definitely too big. I did say it was going to be 138 or 136, something like that. So when we bring that down, that leaves considerably less space for the this doesn't look like the right object. I duplicated the wrong object because it should have that image and a bordering around the image. Which one did I duplicate? I think this one is legacy now. Panel component GUI scroll view list item. Okay, let's double check that before I jump to any conclusion. So we'll go to the friends, click on here. What is this one? Yeah, so this is what it should have looked like. Okay, that's fine. I will just duplicate from this one. I think that one may have been the original, and I just didn't I didn't modify it at that point or something. I don't remember exactly what the reasoning was for that. Okay, so with that in mind, we can go to here, delete this, this is the one we're going to duplicate. Rename it. Okay, so this one is this one's the correct one. Okay, so we don't need this and this. We'll take those out. The width of the whole thing, I think we'll try 138. So we'll try 138 first, and then if it's not enough, I'll bring it down to 136 or something. So let's this background, I think, and the portrait or the thumbnail, I think is good. We'll just move the text primary over a bit. Let's see. Yeah, we want to move that over to about there to try to give as much space for the name as reasonably possible, but the box is just, it's too big. Let's bring that down. We want it to be maximum probably 80. Yeah, I think 80 is good in terms of width, and it'll get cut off at that point. I don't think we're going to have any users with that long of names anyway. That's a fair number of characters that you can fit into there. And it won't wrap. So, okay, so position X, let's move that back a tiny bit more. I think that's good. So that'll be player name. And then likely what'll be added below it is like maybe their guild or something else. There's space. There's space. But let's see how this actually looks, though. That's the important part, is what does it look like when we run it? So this is in test view. So it should output a bunch of tests. Or not. What did I forget? Okay, let's save that. Oh, we do need to use this. I forgot. So in that object, the prefab, we want to use the list item, not the base class reference. So here, and then we're going to change this. Yeah, we want to change this because that's referencing the base. So actually, we're going to remove component and then add component. So it looks pretty much the same, but it's not exactly the same though. Button will of course be button. Online, offline, I'll still set the references. Oops, that's the wrong one. So we'll go with offline, online, thumbnail, and then the text primary. Okay, so now we're pointing to the right reference because I'm going to add likely additional functionality that won't need to be in the base class, but it does inherit the functionality of the base class, which is what's really good about object-oriented programming. And I'm not an expert, but I just see the benefits of it so often that I try to use the term is called, I believe, polymorphism, which is so the base class has certain functionality, right? And then you extend from it and you can create a branch, right? So one branch can go one direction in terms of logic and another branch can go another direction in terms of logic while still sharing the same core functionality from the base class, and you can just keep doing that. But it's really powerful to reuse logic, especially complex and convoluted logic. And if you structure it correctly, you can simplify even some of the most complex things to be almost trivial. But of course, you have to figure it out. That's not the trivial part. But figuring it out can be quite challenging, but the result can be a really clean and elegant solution. And that's why I iterate a lot in terms of everything that I do, both in terms of programming as well as artwork. I just find that that works best for me as an individual. So it's something that I highly recommend. Because I almost never get it right the first time, maybe not even the second or the third time, but eventually I get it. Eventually I get it, and that's the important part. Okay, so primary is now going to be, I can change this safely to player name. Oh, you can see it already got cut off. Let's do this instead then. I don't know if that's big enough. Width-wise. I mean, I could stretch it a little bit more, sure. Maybe gain another character, but the player names, they shouldn't be that big anyway, right? And even if it is, when you click on them, you can see their details later on and see the full name. So it's not a huge deal. And the icon, the portrait thumbnail, will differentiate them as well. So I don't think it'll be a huge deal. But what I want to see is it displayed in this area. So inside of our page users list, I need to open this up. Right, that's why. Okay, so I haven't touched this logic. This is still the old logic. I need to do this. That's what I need to do. Okay, so what we can do is let's collapse some stuff that we don't really need. Scroll view, I'll leave that open for now. List item user, I don't think I'll be doing anything with that. Scroll view, I will leave that just in case because I keep tweaking it slightly here and there. So that's kind of important. So this will sorry, not extend. What am I talking about? Not extend. This will apply similar logic to, where's our friends list item? No. This one is the base class. Okay, I'll leave that one up. I want it to have similar logic as this. So we'll be simplifying this quite a bit. Okay, so we add this in. And that will replace this, and this, and this, and this. Yeah, so it takes out quite a bit of stuff because we kind of move that logic into a prefab component. So it purely deals with that logic for us, which is really good. Okay, all of this stuff or maybe not all of it, but most of this is going to get taken out. So I'm just going to start commenting stuff out, and then I'll come back and I'll add what I need to add. So dictionary count, that will be changed to this logic. So because I've already done this, I can just copy and paste it. Ideally, I'd like to move this into the base class, but the base class doesn't quite warrant this information in there. So I may shuffle some more logic into the base class later on, but for right now, I'm going to continue to have a little bit of duplicate code. It's significantly less than before, though. So there's definitely considerably less duplicate logic than before. Left and right, I think I'll leave that one in. Listeners, I'll definitely leave that in. Player add, this is going to be modified. Remove, add, okay, so this is going to be changed. It's definitely going to be changed. The add to listener, remove from listener, those are also going to be taken out. They're no longer needed here. This is going to end up being changed to a public function, and I'll change it later, but I'll come back to that. This will remain as is for now. Scroll view helper. Oh, right. That's the old logic, isn't it? No, that's the new logic. Sorry. That will remain. Remove item button by user ID. Where does this get used? I see. Okay, no, we're definitely going to keep that. I'll update that logic later. Update old button navigation references. Okay, so this is going to be taken out because it is a part of the functionality within the scroll view and not necessarily this area here. So will this. Okay, so that's the stuff that I'm taking out. You can see I took out a fair bit of code. I do need to clean it up, of course, and it's in a broken state right now. Let's see. So on destroy, we got that. Okay, just kind of checking some things off because I do sometimes forget some stuff. So we need to call on the start, base start, or whatever, it doesn't matter. This needs to be called though. So check initialized, base start, add listener, and then we will just check if single framework instance.io manager is connected to server. Wait, why am I can just take this from here. Okay, so I'll just take that from there. Instead of that, though, it'll be I do this check twice. I don't understand. I think that's a mistake. So if is connected to server, we will request this should not be here. This will need to be moved. Restructure this logic at a later time. This request should not be done here. Okay. Is connect to server equals true, send lobby sync request. And then we have the test stuff. So that's fine. So we'll create 10 test items if we're not connected to server. Okay, that works well for me. Okay, so from there, what else do we need? So we need handle focus set. So this is now a public call. I want to bring that up to, actually no, right here is fine. This location is fine. But then there's another one. Yeah, this. Wait. Handle focus set. That looks right. Okay, that looks right, but we need to add this other one here. Actually, these two. Handle item on click. Okay, so we have this one here. Gonna remove that. Just gonna add these because these are correct, I think. And we're gonna put those right where the other one was as well. So handle focus set. So we'll put our publics right here. Scroll view list item. Get available actions for list item. Interesting. What did I have before I deleted the on click? Nothing. Okay. Right. It was not implemented yet. That's what it is. Okay. Okay. No, that's safe to remove that. I'm okay with that. Okay. So what we want is these two functions. We need these to be public functions, and I'll link them up a little bit later. But we'll do that. I'll remove this just because that's not really needed anymore. This function will bring it in. This we need to add. So that means we didn't have that, or did I disable it? Nope, we did not have that. Right, it's because I haven't touched this area of logic and code for quite some time. So that's why it's a little bit kind of left behind, but that's okay. We'll clean this up. Don't need any of that. Okay, so on destroy, start looks good. On destroy looks good. Handle focus set, that's fine. We'll link that up in a little bit. It's extending from the right class. Handle focus set. This looks good. We'll add this function in shortly. This looks okay. Don't need this. Don't need this stuff anymore. That's old. Okay, so we have add listeners, remove listeners, player add. So this is synchronization stuff from the server that comes over through the TCP/IP socket connection. We'll add more stuff later. Lobby listener, create a button item from prefab. Okay, so this function is going to be remade. And dictionary, remove item button by user ID. Okay, that's definitely going to be remade. It's no longer needed there. Okay, so the two that we need to modify, one is this, which is now going to be called something else entirely. It is going to be called create item or create list item. And it's going to leverage the component that we made before. We'll just throw it in at the bottom for now. But what it will return, though, is the appropriate type for this, which was, I closed it. Let's go find that again. It was list item something. List item user. Yeah. So our create button will return that. So that looks good. This will replace, I'm going to redo that in a bit. That will replace this here. Yes. So it will be the user ID. Oh, user ID needs to be an integer. Okay. How did we do that? It was parse 32.int. No, int. I forget. It's int.parse. I think that's it. So then this will be an integer. Or is it int 32? I forget. There's a way that I did it. I just don't remember which one I did. I want to be consistent though. Either way. So we'll pass that in. It will pass in the username, of course, and the online, offline. It doesn't matter. But this function no longer exists. I want to see, how did I do that one? It was... What can I sample? Yeah, it was int32.parse. Why did it not come up then? int32. I think it's because I need to say using system. I think that's it. Or was it? Yeah, that's what it was. I could have just went system.int32.parse too. Okay, so that will fix that. So we no longer have that function. We're going to be using this instead. That means this we need to add. That's fine. This one is... What's going on here? Scroll view list item. Handle item on select equals that. I'm not sure what this is telling me here. What's going on? I have this here, so that's game object, yes. And then when it gets to here, I'm not sure. Okay, let's do this one next. So this one is just going to be a basic function for now. I will add a bit more logic into it at a later time. But for right now, we just need it to exist and we need it to have something rather than nothing. Okay, so that would address that one there. And then there is also the remove, right? remove will not exist, not in this manner. It will exist in here. I have a I don't have an exposed remove. Interesting. I thought I did. Yeah, oh, there it is. Okay, remove list item. Okay, that's what I need to do. So instead, what I need to do is say component scroll view dot remove list item, and then pass in user ID. Of course, user ID doesn't quite exist yet, so it'll be int user ID equals int32.parse, and we will parse array data index position 2. Okay, so that should be our remove. This no longer exists. So that brings us down to one single error. What is going on here? I don't understand. Oh, okay. It's so obvious. It's staring me in the face. That's what I needed to do. I completely missed that I didn't have one of the curly brackets. It was literally in front of me the whole time. Okay, so with that, I should now be able to generate a bunch of stuff, but I think we need to set some references. Let's see if it'll run first, and then I'll come back and set those references afterward. Okay, so that crashed. Okay, we need to set references first. Definitely need to set some references first. We go into here, we'll go into page users list. We now have component scroll view. Okay, so we have that. And component scroll view should have the right button. It does. And then we need to yeah, it looks right. Oh, hi, Uzak. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well and looking forward to the long weekend. Yes, it is a long weekend. I really like long weekends, but hope you're doing well. Been a while since I seen you online. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm also, oh, there it is. Nice. I'm multicasting. So if you prefer and if it works better for you. Oh, right. Okay, I'll fix that. If it works better for you, I multicast to YouTube as well now. Just so you can pick whatever platform you prefer to view these broadcasts on. But YouTube gives you the opportunity to, or has the functionality to give you different resolutions. Like, let's say if you didn't want to watch 1080p, you wanted to watch, like, let's say 720p or even lower, you can do that with within YouTube. But this looks good. So I just need to link those functions up so the scrolling works correctly. Oh, right. And oh, I can't escape out. Okay. And I need to do the left and right stuff. Okay. Not quite there yet. Anyway, how are you doing? Tell me. And are you looking forward to the nice weather? Because it is getting warmer and warmer. Okay, so I need to link up. What do I need to link? I need to link this and this. They both need to go back to this, I believe. And then we'll go into here, and this one is the on click. Yes, that one is the on clicked, and this one is the on select. Okay, so with that should work, but I still need to set the navigation. So when we create test items, we need to set that. Where's that navigation function? Oh, over here. There we go. So if direction equals left or right, we want to call component scroll view dot update navigational references, because all that logic is nested. Now I can remove all of this green stuff that I commented out. That's a lot of stuff I took out. That's now redundant. Looks like it's coming together. Yeah, it is. The UI is actually coming together really well. I'm quite pleased with it in terms of the functionality that it has. It's come together really well. And once I got the UI to a certain point, I'm going to move on to some of the other logic. Okay, so now this should work. Still not scrolling. Still don't have that. Okay, I'm overlooking something really obvious. What am I overlooking? What am I overlooking? It should be scrolling, but it's not. Or did I forget to set the reference? I think I forgot to set the reference to, yeah, it should be previous selection. That's what it should be. It should be previous selection, and then the component scroll view. That's what it is. It should be previous selection. Primary orientation will be horizontal or vertical. I don't think it matters. And then we need to set this, I think, as the primary. Let's see if that fixes it. Not quite there. I think there's something else I forgot. What am I missing? Missing something. Okay, so what I'll do then is I'll run it, and then I'll go in. That's what I should do, is I should look at the inspector and see what's going on there. I think that will help kind of explain things a little bit. Okay, so from here, this has navigation left and right. So if we follow this, this has navigation left and right. And then if we keep going, that should have worked. That should have worked. Does this need to be previous selection as well, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. So this is previous selection. Horizontal, down. Scroll view is set. And then from here, this should be previous selection. And then this will be a vertical. I don't think we need to actually set that. We have both of these, which is fine, but it's the navigation that I don't quite understand why it's not setting that. Oh, okay. I think I know why. So when we send the sync request, we should be getting the sync request back. Lobby sync complete. That's when we should be doing it. Okay, I think that's it. So this is component scroll view dot update navigational references. So that's when it's being processed. Let's try that. I think that should be it. Because that's what's happening, is that everything seems to be fine, but that one detail, I think I kind of overlooked that. But wait, we're not using... no, that's not it. It's skipping over. I'm definitely overlooking something here. All right, so let's go through it again. So when this gets focus, it will call handle focus. That's not right. That shouldn't be there. Okay, so that's the first thing I think, is that shouldn't be there. Because this logic no longer exists. Whoops, almost dropped that. Definitely don't want to drop that. Okay, so that's not right there. So what this should be doing is going and redirecting that focus. So let's have a look at the guild one to do a comparison. Because it's similar logic, kind of. I just want to see how I did the guild one, so I can kind of mimic that. Not that, but this here. Oh, I am setting focus. Okay. Let's see. What am I doing logically here? So handle focus set to guild members, but I'm not. I am using it. Okay, so I was wrong. I do need that back. That's fine. So let's look at the rest of it. So this is set to redispatch. Okay, that makes sense. So we need to redispatch on focus received. And then this stuff is none and none. Okay, so that's none. And then what about here? This is not populated because it doesn't need it. It just needs those two. Okay. So what I'll do then is I'll go back from guild and we'll go back to home, over to users, add this one back, and then this will need to be set to redispatch event. And this will need to call, what is it? Handle focus set. Okay, so now it's kind of the same. This doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Just want to set them all. Okay, so we're not using that. Not using that. Just so I don't accidentally mistake it later, is I want to revert it. All right, so with that set, I think this should work. Okay, so we're back to this phase. So that's fine. So now the question is, why is it not scrolling? Whoops, this is guild members. I hope I didn't modify anything there by accident. I was looking at guild members. Oh no. Please don't tell me I made something, do something that it's not supposed to. Okay, on select. Okay, so on select does nothing. But it should be scrolling to the selection. So on select of, unless it's not dispatching on select. That's what it is. Oh, I just realized what it was. Okay, got it. Now I know. We'll go back to here. Scroll view. It's because I modified this button, but what I didn't do is I didn't set the listeners. There we go. So it's missing. That's what happened. So we need that. And we need that. So this one, of course, will be the on select. Handle on select. Whoops. On deselect. Sorry, my mistake. On deselect. This one will be the on select. And then there should be a button on click. That's what it is. Okay, mystery solved. I was wondering what was going on there. It's really easy to overlook these details when you're kind of like jumping around. There we go. That's what's supposed to happen. That makes a lot more sense. Right? So when you're navigating, and I think the spacing and padding looks good. Oh, the left and right still don't work. Okay, that's the next step. So what's going on that the left and right navigations are not set? We should see a whole bunch of lines on the left and right setting the navigation. So when we call create test items, and then where's the other portion of this? So community friends. Yeah, so internal event, that's what I need. Internal event, did I use it as an internal event? I did. So internal event, direction change complete. On the left and on the right, I want to call update. So only on the left and right do I want to call update navigation references. If it's up and down, I'm not too concerned about that, because in this particular case, we're not using up and down. Up and down will be just for purely scrolling through the list. Left and right will be the redirection navigation. Right, it's because I need to set this. That's what I forgot. It was right there in front of me again, and I didn't even see it. Okay, so with that set, so call this first, and that's why I left that note. Call this first. There we go. Okay. So if we get left or right, we pass in the direction and the target, and then we call update the references. That should get us the result we want. I'm quite confident in that, or at least somewhat confident, let's just say. And then I'll need to test it, of course, with logging in. But logging in, I don't really have many. There we go. So we can see all of the lines on the left being set, but the left and right. So I can go back, but the right is not set. The right is not set. So I can navigate left and back, which is cool. That's what I want. But we should see, we should be able to go right and go from here to the next panel over. It's not supposed to get stuck here. So on direction equals left, so we got that. And then on direction equals right, it should still be calling that. So let's see, is it even called? So we'll say debug.log, and I'll output direction. And then focus element. Okay, so we should see that when I run it, and it'll likely be called more than once. At least I hope so. For sure it's getting called on the left, but the question is it being called on the right? And that's what is kind of seems like it's not really working. So we'll see. Okay, so left is called, right is called, both are called. But why is it not being set then? Because when I go into here and we click on this object, we go into the, so if we go into content, list item 0, okay, and then the button, so it has down, it has up, it has left, but it doesn't have right. So right was not set. Why was the right not set? So if we go up to scroll view, this has left, this has right, but it didn't set right. Let me double check something first, actually. So when we call update navigational references, okay, so we do the sort, we do the direction left. Oh, no. Of course it's not doing right. I never added the right functionality. Whoops, that's my bad. Okay, so select on left, on right. If it does not equal null, right, then set the right. That kind of explains why it's not being set. Okay, that'll fix it. So now we have left and right. Okay, that makes more sense, because I was wondering, because everything else seemed to be set, so that it should be working now. But we do need to replay it. Now we should have proper navigation, the way that it works, and everything is dynamically set through code, which is great, because that's what I want. So let's see it in action. Yeah, I can see the lines, right? You can see the pathing lines that Unity has, so you know it's working. That's right. Okay, yeah, so that's the users. Okay, so with that, then what I want is I want to set this, I know it looks a little bit too much when it's like that, but what I want to set is now the options in the circular navigation. So when you click on that, or when you press enter while that selection is active, what options are we going to be giving? So we're going to add message, team invite, friend remove. No, we want friend add. So we want to add friend, guild member invite. Yeah, we want to do that. I think that's it though. Those are the 4 options we want to give. So it'll be message, team invite, friend add. I don't think we add team invite here from the lobby. Let's disable that one. So it'll be message, friend add, and then guild member invite. Can you think of anything else we need? Let's have a look at them and see what options do we have. So we have emote. No, I don't want to get into those kind of systems just yet. Inspect, move, equip. No. Guild member invite. leave, no. Team invite, don't need that here. Message, yes. Don't need the NPC stuff. Don't need the pet stuff. Pet combat abilities, no. And test, yeah. No, I think that's fine for now. In terms of actions to perform when you select on that individual, I think that's pretty good. Okay, so I can remove all of this logic that we're not using now. I need to test real information. Sorry, not real information. I mean live information. So I'll need to connect and test that out. Add, remove from listener, create button. Okay, so all of that stuff is gone. And then lobby player remove. Okay, that's legacy. Then this one is add player. Yeah, this is all really old code. I'll leave this stuff in here. And then, yeah, so that cleans up quite a bit. Okay, so what we need to do is test real information or live information. So I'll need to log in. We'll go into scene, loading, and then we'll test it with live information. All right, so live information. Okay, so that's me. Okay, navigation working well. What we need to test is three options. Okay, so what we need to test is another member. I will log in with, let's go with one of the test accounts. Okay, so now that we have Jane, can I navigate to her? No. So navigation, vertically, I can't navigate to her. That means that on the ad, so I think it was in the sync ad. So there's sync ad and then lobby ad player. There's two different ads. I always forget which one is which. One of them is when you first join and it's a part of the synchronization. And the other one is when a player joins after the fact, right? You get the ad player. So I think the sync ad is on the initial when you first join. So that would make sense why it's sync ad. And then the other one is the ad player. So I'm going to test that real soon. Debug. Actually, why? I can just look at this. I just realized that's why I make this stuff, right? So the one that got added was it was packet LAP. It was lobby ad player. It wasn't sync ad. Because sync ad would have been LSAP, would have been the packet header name. I'm quite confident in that, actually. Oops. Okay, so it'll be on the add. So when a player is added, what we want to do is we want to, once we add them, we want to call the update references. So component scroll view dot update navigational references. Okay. So that should hopefully address it. Okay, so I'll leave focus on that one. And then I'll add a test player. Okay, so can I navigate? Yes, perfect. And left and right works. Okay, cool. That's what I wanted. Of course, this stuff, this doesn't do anything yet. It will later. Just not quite right now. So it looks pretty good. I think I'm satisfied with this specific piece of the functionality. So that means these scroll views, all of these are now using the latest functionality. This one, I don't have that many members in my guild, so that's fine. I'm not going to do the guild walls yet. I don't think I want to go into that specific detail, nor the guild information, but the guild stats. So the individual player and their information, this is correct. This is all the latest information. You can see the join date of my guild was back in 2013. And I'm probably one of the first to join, right, on the first guild. So that means that's pretty much when the guild system was implemented. Yeah, that was a long time ago, right? Okay, so that's working. What else? I think there was something else I was going to add. The settings, I'm not going to get into this right now, just because there's more stuff that needs to be defined, and I'll add more categories. But we got, I think this looks okay visually. It looks okay for now. Once we get some content in the middle, it'll actually look better. Right now, it looks a little off balance just because there isn't any content in the middle to justify the navigation of these buttons. But everything works really well, and I'm using arrows. I haven't tested with a controller in a little bit, but it's the same as using arrows. It's literally the same functionality. So this is working good. The next step, I do need to test this on a mobile device. I don't think I'm going to do an Android build just yet to test on a mobile device, or maybe I could. I think maybe I could do a quick build. I might just do that. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is, now that we have this functionality here, I want to start getting into some of the, oh, right. I forgot. I didn't reposition this. So it looks off-centered. Let me fix that real quick. I totally forgot about that. We'll go into main lobby. I completely forgot that I repositioned this just by a small amount. Actually, now that I think about it too, this is the player user information is using the old scroll view. But the old scroll view is it's a different version of it. So I don't think it needs. I can remove that. Hide that. Yeah, it's using the old scroll view, so I don't think it really needs the functionality of the new scroll view component. Can offset this slightly. That looks about center. Oh, vertically as well. Okay, I need to wait. Vertically it gets cut off. I see. Okay. I'll leave it like that for now. I'll just leave it like that for now because I'm going to change this stuff later. I just didn't want that to be masked off in a strange way. I think that's okay because this stuff is all, there's no spacing really at this time. And that's okay. I will clean up this stuff at a later time. So what I want to do is, got guild working, we got friends list working, got navigation working. I want to be able to create game rooms because that's going to be the direction that I generally like to go, is to start off with game rooms first, because the game rooms has a lot of the functionality in terms of environment wise that would get used in the world, and it's a bit more simplified. It's not as complex and detailed as the world is. So that's why I generally like to start with that first, and then that functionality that's implemented for the game rooms, the same stuff gets reused in terms of building out the environment, the player character position, movement, interactions, that kind of stuff. The same functionality and classes get used for the world and then just get added onto or extended from. So I think that's the direction we're going to go. I could do the chat as well, but I wonder if it's, I think it should be working now that I think about it. Let's try logging in. Because I think chat should be working in a generic sense. So if I type in chat, nope. Chat is not working. Did I send the information to the server? No, it doesn't look like I did. If I would have, it would have shown. Okay, so chat is not working. Maybe I'll fix that. I wonder, can I receive chat then? Okay, so I can receive chat. But I can't send chat. This chat condition has not been implemented yet. Mod chat. Oh, really? No, that should have worked. Let's have a look at that in a bit more detail and see kind of what's going on. So from here, when I select the chat component, nope, chat input, okay, so I'm missing the, I think I'm missing those. Or am I? Okay, so that works. Interesting. Let's have a look at that. So it is the chat area in the lobby. I wonder if it works in standalone. Because if it works in standalone, then that means it's a minor setting that I may have just overlooked. So in here, if I say hello, okay, so that does work. Okay, so if I'm not logged in and chat works, then that means it should also work in when we're logged in. Because I remember I implemented that functionality. I distinctly remember implementing that functionality. Okay, so chat, we'll go with, let's have a look at its prefab. Okay, so going from the top, what are these buttons? Okay, so that's just the buttons. Position at start. This one doesn't auto snap, which is fine. Text, nothing. Canvas, inherit, canvas scalar, object block. There should be a pixel perfect, override sorting, canvas scalar, root canvas will not be affected. Yeah, not too concerned about that. Color transparent mesh, I'm not sure why that's disabled. Okay, so that's color tint, that's fine. That's fine. Text. So that would be for mobile settings. Allow rich text. on change. What is this? Not sure what that is. Okay, so that looks fine so far. It's just a text field. Okay, button chat type. This looks pretty standard. I don't see anything that stands out here that I need to configure. Okay, so then we have buttons. Okay, so that's the buttons, and then we have hitbox. Hitbox needs to be on layer 0. Sprite, it's missing a sprite. Okay, I'll need to open up the other project and see what the difference is, because there's clearly something that's been oops, wrong one. Do I have it open? I do have it open. Okay. So we'll go into here and we'll go to the input text area. Okay, so we're missing some stuff. Let's see. In terms of, I'm just looking at what it kind of looks like in terms of the parameters in the inspector. It looks pretty much the same. I don't see any major differences. Okay, so that all looks the same. What was that one hitbox, right? Hitbox. I don't have this. Really? I didn't bring that in. Okay. That's actually a common one for me to use. So what I'll do is I'll open it up. I'll grab the file and the meta file that goes with it. And I'll bring that into the images. Images GUI. And I'll place that in here. Oh, it's telling me that it's already there. So how come this couldn't find it then? Now it can. Okay, well, whatever. I guess that's in now. So that's fine. So what I don't understand is what specifically is resulting in it not working. Okay. Well, all of that stuff looks like it should be working for the most part. So what I'll do then is I will go back into the lobby from login, of course. I'll log in and I'll see kind of what's going on. Okay, so there was a message that it gave when I typed out. Okay. This chat condition has not been implemented yet, moderator. So what does that mean? Because I'm confident it was working before. At least I think it was working before. Maybe I'm mistaken. What I'll do is I'll try logging in as a non-moderator account. I think maybe that's what I'm overlooking. Is so I'll log in as Jane. So if I say that, still doesn't make sense. Member premium. This is all really, really old logic that I brought over from ActionScript 3 from the old client. I don't like this logic, to be honest. I don't think it even makes sense. Like this huge switch statement for what, right? Let's change that. Let's change this whole thing. Okay, it'll get changed again later. So what I'll do is I'll do a switch. Oh. Yeah, not as easy as I thought. This stuff is, without changing a significant amount of code, this is still needs to be there, unfortunately. So member premium. That's unfortunate. In hindsight, about 12 years ago when I implemented this, I should have probably done it a bit different, but I didn't. So right now I need to just patch it, and I'll come back later when I go to modify this kind of logic. I couldn't have known at that time. I think what I did was okay in that it works, but with time and experience, I would definitely do this differently. I definitely would. Okay, so how can we make it just work then for now? So member silver, that never existed. Member free does not exist anymore. Everything is being consolidated. So member free doesn't exist, member silver doesn't exist, moderator exists, and admin exists. So we just need premium, moderator, and admin. They look the same. Like this nested switch logic. It looks, oh no, it's not the same. It's similar, not the same. But this should have worked though, because it's telling me member premium. So account type premium. Let's try that again. Let's try with the mod account, the moderator account, and then see the output and see where it should have worked. Let's go with that first. I just find it strange that yeah, no, I don't know. Okay, so we'll go with hello. Not implemented. Okay. So that brings us to moderator. What it's doing is checking game location, main lobby. Is that what's failing? Main lobby, world, and game room. Let's have a look at it and see what do we got. So we'll say debug.log, and our location. So I want the location in game, and then I want the account type. Sure, let's go with the account type. So we'll go with location in game, account type. Let's add a bit of a separator. Okay, let's have a look at that and see what are those two values, because it seems like those are differentiating parameters that I use for that nested switch statement. So if I can see those values, then I'll be able to a bit better understand kind of what's going on there. because it really should be working, in my opinion, but I can't say for sure without testing it thoroughly. Okay, so that would explain it. Location in game is not set. That's why it's not working, because I remember it working before. So location in game, it has 11 references, but it's not being set. Really? Okay. Location in game. So we need to track down why it's not set. Game room, chat. So these are all checks. None of these set the value other than game room, which we're not into. There should be a lobby one. Oh, that's what it should be. So there should be a lobby one. So let's open, what are we looking for? Player user. Okay. So I'll need to look at where it should have been set and then see what's going on and why it's not being set. What happened to my music? Okay. Okay, so we have player user. What we want to see is location in game. Come on, give me the count. 35 references. Okay. Okay, so there should be one from, what I'm looking for is specifically when it's being set. So here's one, main lobby. So that's the one that I'm looking for, is app main. App main. Handle lobby join success. And then the world one as well. Oh, so that's kind of important. Did I forget to add that in? I wonder. I don't have it. I don't have app main. That would explain it right there. I never brought it over. Okay, let's see. What else does app main have? App main sets orientation, frames per second, device permission. Oh, right. Okay, so this is kind of important, actually. Yeah, I need this. For sure, I need to bring that in. Okay, so then it should be simple. Just bring it in, and we'll implement it similar to the other stuff. So app main goes into which folder structure? None. Okay. We'll need to find a nice little spot we can put app main, because it's kind of an important one. Could probably even put it inside of framework, because it's a rather important piece, because I can't think of another folder structure it really fits into. It's just purely this thing. Yeah, okay, let's put it there. So we'll bring app main into here. So now app main should exist. Let's go and add it properly. So we have app main there. Definitely going to need that. Okay. So with app main present, does it need any accompanying classes? I don't think so. Okay. So I think that should be it. Let's see. Does that give us any errors, I wonder? For those of you that are just coming in, hello and welcome. Oh, my camera died again. Nice. Okay, I'll get that up. So I was saying, for those of you that are new, just coming in, hello and welcome. Feel free to say hi if you would like. You don't want to, that's fine too. You can just watch me do this. I do this for fun and I do this for educational purposes. So it's something that I enjoy working on my spare time. And it's something I've been working on for quite a while, and something that I'll definitely be working on for quite some time still. So this should now work. Seriously? Oh, I forgot to save it. Whoops. I didn't save it. I need to do that again. So I was just saying that this is a project that I've been working on for quite a while, and it's something that I made more than a decade ago is when I started it. And I originally made it in Flash using ActionScript 3. And since then, I've had a lot of fun playing with the community members and just in general with different people online. There we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, so chat is working. I mean, it's not that it wasn't working. It was always working. I just didn't understand why. This stuff, I'm not going to implement this stuff yet. Okay, so with chat working, I should be able to have two-way communication. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that works. I'm confident that this part works. The interaction part with the chat, I don't think I'll quite go too far into it, but what I want to do is move on to this. I want to be able to navigate through this and then create a game room. Similar to how we did before, right, with the old Flash client, but probably a bit different. A bit different, I think. Because I think this is too... It's too much. I don't think anyone really used guild versus guild. Password, I understand some people may want to password lock the room. It's understandable. I'm definitely going to keep that. Allow guests, we can definitely leave that. Frenzy mode on by default. That's kind of a de facto. Type, teams and classic, and then players. however many number of players you want. I want to change this stuff to be more friendly with the game controller, because I want to be able to. The room name doesn't matter, really. I want to be able to just navigate through it with the controller and just go create room, just as easily as you would any other way. That's the goal, because we need to be able to create a room to be able to get into the room, and then I can shift my focus to the game creation, the game room creation logic, and then bring that in with all the new environment, the 2.5D environment and the characters and all that stuff. Yeah, that's the idea. Right. So I was saying, for those of you that are new, you're welcome to, of course, join the community on Discord if you like, or if you like, just hit that follow button to see when I go live next. I do broadcast on Twitch and on YouTube concurrently. So whichever platform you prefer, YouTube just gives you more options currently. Is the only difference is it gives you more options in terms of selecting the resolution, whereas Twitch, you get what you get, which is the source resolution that I broadcast at, which happens to be 1080p 30 frames per second. But with YouTube, you can bring it down if you like, because I know some mobile devices or some people who don't have the internet bandwidth, they don't care too much about the specific details, and they just want to view it, right? So some people would even drop it down to like 320p, just so they can generally view it and then hear the audio, because the audio, I think, is probably the most valuable part, so that I can relay the what it is that I'm doing really, and have communication between myself and you guys. I think is really the more important part. Okay, so with that implemented, I'm pleased with the way that works. I don't know if I want to implement the navigational stuff into this at this time, because what I want to do is similar to this. Right now, when you navigate down, it just goes to the center, right? It means the parent object. That's what it's really doing. It doesn't know about any of these nested items that are, sorry, I meant to do this. Any of these nested items that I'm kind of highlighting and hovering over, it doesn't know about them, right? But if I change it to the logic of this, right? So it's same idea, scroll view, but this is aware of the nested objects, so it can navigate through them, and that's an important part. So I could add that in here, but I'm not too sure about the value of that at this time. I think I'd be more interested in just implementing the logic in here, so then we can view the active game rooms and then create the game rooms. I think what I'm going to do, I think it makes more sense for right now. And then that will take us into the game room logic, because this lobby, I think, works really well, actually, in terms of the functionality. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I was going to do a test. I think I should do that. Yeah, I'll do a quick Android build, and I'll show you guys what this looks like on an Android tablet. Even though it looks the same, it's the usability. It's that, how does it perform? Does it, like when you're using the UI, is it as intuitive as the way that it's supposed to be, right? So that's important. Just give me a sec. Okay, I got my Android tablet. I'm just going to be plugging it in. Okay, and of course my camera dies when I plug stuff in, or when I do anything. It's because I'm using a Android, a really old Android smartphone that I had from a long time ago, and I'm using that as my camera. I changed the operating system to Lineage OS, which is still Android based, but the manufacturer, they no longer support that device because it's so old, right? And it was very unstable. The operating system was just in bad shape. It didn't have any updates. It was unstable on its own, like just naturally unstable because of the way the manufacturer left it and neglected it, which is something I really dislike. Because all that does is it produces e-waste, right? On a device that's still perfectly functional. It just needs an updated operating system. Literally, that's all it needs, right? So what the community people do on Lineage OS is they just take the hardware, right? And they do an Android build for that hardware, and then they go in and they modify some of the logic, some code, of course, and they do their voodoo stuff, right, to make sure that the operating system, Android, runs on this hardware. That's it. And you have yourself a super clean, better than ever operating system that's laid like the latest, not the most recent. I think it's still running Android 10, or maybe it's 11. I don't know. But it's stable is my point. It's stable. It works well. It gives you all the functionality that you need. And I use this both as my camera, and it's my MP3 player when I go bike riding. It's my MP3 player when I go kayaking and other stuff. And I have another one too, right? So this is one that I got from a family member, right? Which is my, I use Touch Portal on it, which controls the broadcast. And this is another one that's roughly the same age. It's about like 8 or something years old, right? And it works perfectly fine. You just change the operating system to be something modern, and it takes away all of that crashing, all of that instability. You get better battery life, and you can install whatever you want on it, right? And that's exactly what I did. Is I used Touch Portal to control the broadcast. When you see me flip through the different quadrants of my screen, or when you see me mute the microphone, or when I go to the intro screen or to the end screen, all of that stuff, or start and stop broadcast, all of it, it's very customizable. And it's a device that if I didn't use it for this, it would just be e-waste, right? So I'm not going to go buy myself one of those touch things. I forget the name of it. Stream Deck, not Steam Deck, Stream Deck. I'm not going to get a Stream Deck when I have something that works perfectly fine, right? It's just the way that I see things. And I really dislike it. And I've said it before. It's like I use an electric toothbrush, right? They intentionally make it so you can't use or you can't replace the battery, and it uses a proprietary enclosure where you have to break the seal to get into it. And it's ridiculous because all you need to do is be able to change the battery on there. And these things, they're so robust that it would last you a lifetime, right? All you need to do is be able to change the battery. But no, the battery dies every 1 to 2 years. It's planned obsolescence, of course. So then you have to go buy a new one, right? Something that works perfectly fine. If you think about it, equal to that would be your car, right? If your car battery died, do you dispose of the car, right? Or do you get a new battery? Exact same concept, right? Logically, it's like, well, yeah, you get a new battery, right? So we should be doing the same with these devices that we have, right? But they intentionally make it really difficult. And by they, I mean the manufacturer, because they make their sales from the volume of products that they sell. The longer you use something, the less desirable it is for them, because from a manufacturer point of view, and I get it, it's money driven. It's really unfortunate, but it's the way our society kind of works. And I wish it was different. I do. I really wish things were different. But it is what it is. Anyway, enough of that rant. It's just one of those things that kind of... Okay, so I have my Android device plugged in. So I should be able to do a build. Let's go into here, file. We'll go into build settings. So I have my loading screen, main menu, lobby. That's correct. And it's set to Android. Okay, so I'm going to stop this. And I'm going to do a build. You'll see the screen kind of get a little weird, and my camera will die. When I do a build, my camera will die. Oh, it already died. Okay, so don't worry about it then. My camera will remain dead, but what I'm going to do is do a build. Wait, I thought that would Control B. Build and run. Control B. So developer build. Oh, okay. So I need to select my device. Okay. That's what I wanted. All right. So let's save that. So Control B, it should... Oh. Why does it keep doing that? I don't know. Okay. So in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new folder. New folder. We'll call this builds. And we'll call it GUI. Oh, I just remembered. I haven't done any builds on this yet, so there's a bunch of configuration stuff. That's what it is. There's a whack load of configuration stuff now that I think about it that I need to do. Okay, I'll do that off stream. I won't do that during the stream for right now. So we just got to wait a little bit for it to do the build. And then once it builds and pushes that to my device, then I'll get the camera back on, and then I'll show you guys how I test this. And you'll get to see the screen. I use this application called, what is it? Screen Copy, which is an application you run on Windows. It goes through ADB, but the nice thing about it is that you don't need to install anything on the mobile device. As long as it's Android 6.0 or higher, you can use it, and it'll connect to the device, and it'll push a temporary something onto the device, and it'll capture the screen and the inputs, and you can communicate back and forth, which is really neat. I like that functionality about it because it allows you to still use a mouse to control it on your Windows machine, similar to finger input on the mobile device. So it allows you to test touch input. And the reason why I do that is because when you switch over to the new Unity input system and the new Unity event system, the Unity remote assistant application, which is on the Android store, does not work for inputs. Zero input. The new input system still, to this day, as far as I know, is not supported. It's still very new. I like it because it's very powerful, and I use it because it's new and it has the functionality that I need, but it's not yet supported on the new input system when you test it, because the way that you used to do it before is you just connect an Android device, right? And then you click play, and then the Android device that's connected, it will mirror at a much lower quality resolution-wise and whatnot, but enough to be able to use it so that it mirrors what you see on the Unity application on your desktop, right? Which is great, right? But unfortunately, like I said, the new input system and the new event system, because they go hand in hand, the two of them go together, they do not support the Unity remote application for Android devices does not support that. I'm sure at some point they'll figure something out, but the way around it, of course, is to just use screen copy and then use Profiler to see your outputs and whatnot. Okay, so this looks like should be wrapping up soon. Almost there. This initial build takes longer, right? Because I haven't done a build yet, but for future builds, right, it'll cache some of this stuff. So then it'll be able to do this build much quicker. Just a little bit longer, and I think it should be done though. So once it finishes, then it'll push it onto my device. I didn't actually think it would take 4 minutes to do a build. Like, wow. Okay, and nice. Okay, so it's pushed onto my device. Now I can get my camera back. Okay, camera's back. All right, so what I need to do is get screen copy application working. So I'm just going to navigate to that folder so then you can see what I see. All right, we're going to go into my apps. Where is... Okay, so I need to bring up command. So we'll go to change directory to the folder where I have this stuff. Okay, so we're just going to be running this executable here, but because I have multiple devices, I need to specify which device specifically am I going to run, right? And I have a little cheat code that I got for myself right here. And that's the command that I'm going to use. And once it initializes, this is what you see. Okay, so this is my Android device that's currently connected. So this that you see is my finger, 3 fingers, 4 fingers, 5 fingers, right? So this is one of the parameters that you can enter in, which was the -T. So from here, what I want to do is I want to log in, right? I'll put in my username and my password. Let's keep that password between us, right? No one else will know. Okay. And then we come into our login. So this is me navigating with my finger. Transitions looks good. Looks really good, actually. It's nice. It's a different feeling to have it on a device rather than just the test environment, right? So this is working exactly as expected. There's nothing really there. We have the exit, we have home. Yeah. No, this is working well. Okay, so what I want to test though is I want to test the controller. And the cool thing too though is I can use my mouse So instead of just using my finger, I can use the mouse, and it treats it like a finger input, right? And I believe you can also use a keyboard here too. So if I go on my computer, I can type in hello, and this is using the keyboard, right? And you can commit that, right? So that was the message that I sent. So it's really interesting to use this application. But what I want to do though is I'm going to connect my Xbox controller over Bluetooth to my mobile device, because this is my test kind of thing, right? So we'll activate that. Let's see, did it connect? Yeah, it connected. Okay. I'm just gonna have that sit right. Come on. Okay. So Xbox controller. Looks good. I like that. And then with the Xbox controller, or the controller, you can use the L and R. So this is what R does, is it flips through the pages, right? And then the, I mean the left and right shoulder buttons is what I mean specifically. So when you press the shoulder buttons, it doesn't matter where you are in the navigation, it'll flip through the next one. But if you press down, right, it'll go to wherever you were previously, which is really nice. So let's say we were on this selection on admin. If I press the left shoulder button, it'll go left one. Press down, it goes to previous selection here, right? And then same idea, you can just flip through them. So it's really neat, the different interactions you can have, or different usability you can custom build in. And yeah, it feels really good on the tablet. I like it. This is the kind of the usability that I want to go for. So both the analog stick and the D-pad work exactly the same. It's whatever you prefer, right? I think the right stick also does the same. I didn't really know that. I had no idea actually. So the right stick does the same as the left stick and the thumb, or the D-pad. That's kind of strange. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that, because I was planning on adding a different functionality for the right stick, right, than the left stick. But if the right stick is going to do the exact same as the left stick, no, there has to be a way to change it. I'll figure something out. I'm just a little surprised that the right stick does the same thing as the left. In terms of navigation on the UI, because I do want to have it do something else entirely. And then if we exit, yep, that works really well. And then if we want to go back to it, wait, where's my focus? Where's my focus? That's kind of strange. It just goes to that, but I can't navigate. Usually I could. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, it's some weird bug, I think. So the focus is working. It's just not highlighting. Okay, anyway, that's the test. That's our test. So it's a really good application to use. I highly recommend it for testing. It's very powerful. You don't need to install anything. All you need to do is just download that application, screen copy, and then just use it. Okay, so that was our test. In terms of testing, I think that went pretty well. All right, next step is going to be like I mentioned before, what I want to do is get into the creation of the game room, which means I also need to bring in the functionality to be able to navigate. To be able to navigate to here and then have these be selectable, both in terms of the game rooms. So this scroll view, similar idea to what you just seen me do with the users in this area. So same idea there, but these will of course have a different list item with very specific parameters. And then the create room is the one that I want to really add. Oh, I did add this, so you can navigate to here. Okay. Okay, then. So this will be the first time I'll be implementing this. Yeah, the create room. I don't think I added that into the previous one. And of course, the create room wanted to kind of share some of the logic similar to this, right? So room name is going to be optional, right? Game type, this should probably default, I think, instead of having to select it. Max players, this should also default. And the question is, how do we best represent this? Because I don't want to create this. Or does Unity have a drop-down list that's navigatable with a controller? I don't know. What happened to music? Oh, it ended. So this is kind of what I want to create. So let's do that. I've been kind of plugging away at the code for a while. Let's do a little bit of UI and let's kind of build the basics of this room creation, and then see where it's going to go. So let's do that. Sometimes it's better to step away from the code a little bit. So this will be a standalone panel that we'll make into a prefab, so then we can bring it up whenever we need to. But I wonder if we have a panel of some sort that I can just take and duplicate so I don't start from scratch, is kind of what I'm thinking. So let's have a look at these and see. That one looks kind of promising. It has the... No, we don't need input, actually. What else? Nope, too big. That one is very simplistic. Oh, and it has the scroll view. We could probably actually do that. I could duplicate this and then modify this to kind of be like this. Let's scale this down a bit. Right? Because room name, I think that should be optional. And if you're using a controller, you can't currently, I don't have a system or a solution in place where you can type with a controller. There's no such thing, as far as I know. There's a good chance, there's a good chance that it exists on the Unity Assets store, but I don't know how well it would work for my intended use case. So it might be better for me to just create my own, but I don't want to do that anytime soon. That's a lot of time invested into something that I want to put towards different parts of the project at this time. What I want to do is just create this simplistic UI. I don't know if I'll have guild versus guild. I think I might take that out. But the functionality is there, so I might just leave it in. I don't know. We'll see. Because this functionality already exists in the, like on the server side. There's functionality that, yeah, I would leave it in actually, because I even have stats that are displayed, I think, for guild versus guild. And it's good for like tournament and that kind of stuff. If you want to do guild versus guild tournament, I mean, you could always just do teams and whatever. But if you go guild versus guild, then whichever, I think it auto puts you into, separates the teams based on your guild. I'm not sure. I don't recall. It was so long ago. But what I want to do is I just want to create this UI. And I think the friends one is a good one to maybe borrow from. Let's see what else is there. So we got friends, whatever this is. Oh, okay. So that would be, yeah, no, that's for later use. Nope. Nope. I think the friends one is probably the one that I'll borrow from. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll just take this, press Control D to duplicate it, F2, and let's rename it. So this will be GUI panel create game room. Let's go into it. All right, so I'll have the other one pretty much side by side. I'm just gonna move it over a little bit just so I can see it. Okay, we'll need to increase the size of it. What is this? Oh, right. I didn't actually delete that. Let's... Yeah, we don't need that. I'm going to go back into the friends one. I'm going to delete this because this was the old one. So we're not using that anymore. Just so I don't forget about it. Because sometimes if I don't remove it, I'm not going to remember it later. My camera's dead again. Okay. All right. So that should work for a little bit. All right. What I'll do is I want to go back to the correct one, of course, game room. So what we want to do is kind of enlarge this a bit. So let's go to the background and see what do we want the width of this to be. And it's a 9 slice, so it'll stretch well. Roughly about that size. So height, we could just make it if we just made it an even 4. Okay, let's go with an even 4, and then width we will go with 3. That should give us plenty of space. So I need to adjust this to be width. I believe we said 3, so it'll be 3.2. Or is it 3.1? No, 3.2. And then height would be 4.2. Wait, is that right? Is it supposed to be 5 or 10 bigger on each side? I don't remember. That looks like 5. Yeah. Yeah, this one is thicker. Let's bring that down a little bit. Okay, and then with the shadow, same thing. So it'll be 3.1 and 4.1. Okay, so we have that. That's our background. And then the title. That looks like it's properly snapped. Yeah, that looks good to me. Okay, let's go and increase the width of the background a bit, because it needs to accommodate the text create game room. Might need to be a bit bigger. Okay, and then the actual label itself. So what do we have for labels? Oh, I don't have create game room. Oh no. I thought I did. Okay, I'll need to export that. Really? I really thought I had it. Okay, that's fine. It's easy enough to export because it is a graphic. It's not actual text. Because I'm trying to keep it more or less very close to the original. So that's what I'd like to do anyway. We'll just wait for Flash to load up. Okay, and I'll snap it. I really didn't have a create game room. Wow. Okay. Sure. I don't know how I missed that, but okay. That's fine. So we'll add it to here. Oh, create room. That's right. Not create game room. Just create room, I think, is more than adequate. Let's tighten this up just a little bit. And then we'll export it as, where is it? I don't see it in this directory. Really? Then where did I put it if not here? Oh, there it is. (32-bit) size looks good. Okay, let's hit that export. I forgot the name of it. text labels. Okay, so that looks good. The question is though, did I bring in the other one? So let's look for label. It doesn't look like I brought that in. Okay, I want to bring in the other one before I go to replace it because there's quite a bit of slicing that I did, and I want to preserve that work. I don't want to lose that. So we'll bring it in first, and then I'll replace it because the text, all of the text wording, which is graphics, are still going to be pretty much in the same place. Okay, so I will bring that into this area here pretty much. It'll be images GUI. Yeah, it'll go into here somewhere. Okay, so now that it's in here, when I search for label, there it is. So there's my work. And then I will replace that image. So then I don't lose my work that I did. You want to replace? Yes, I do. Okay, so then I'll just need to go into the graphic and open up Sprite Editor and just add that one piece of text. That looks about right. I just want to make sure I got all of it, really. That's all I care about. Okay, so with that, I should now be able to say apply up here. Okay, now I should be able to swap out the sprite. Oops, sorry, wrong screen. Now I should be able to swap out the sprite. And I think it's the last one. Yeah. Okay. Now we have create room. So that's a good start, right? It looks similar. It looks quite similar, actually. But it will deviate, of course, to an extent. Not sure exactly how much, but it will deviate to a certain extent, we'll say. Okay, so what we're going to have is there's going to be low battery. Okay, that's fine. So there's going to be a game type. How do I want to illustrate that? Because I don't want to do drop downs like this. For this one, I'm not sure what to do. Because I do want to give the user the choice, but at the same time, I mean, most people will just choose 8. Statistically speaking, it'll be usually 8, so other people can join. And if you don't want other people to join, you just set a password. That way, no one else can come into your game. But let's build this out though. So what we want is a text input field, which we do have one. I have a prefab made specifically for that. So it's input. I think it's this one. No, definitely not that one. That's the one that I want. So it's input text 0. Oh. Okay, so we will bring this into the container. I think we need to change the UI level to being something like 10. Okay. Right, looks very similar. Of course, I'm going to change username to the default text, which is going to be game room. And then we'll add a text field right above it that says room name, just so the user knows. So we'll create UI text mesh pro. See, I don't like that. I don't like how it finds the canvas and it tries to put it inside that canvas. I don't like that. I wanted to create a separate. How do we do that? Okay, let's try. We'll create the game object, and this will be text room name. From here, I'll create UI and select Text Mesh Pro. Okay, so that worked. Okay, and then the canvas will be, right, the canvas is huge. So we need to say, and this is something that I prefer to do. I prefer to scale it and do all of those things manually myself. Canvas is very powerful, but also it can be used in a lot of ways. And then what I like to do is have the text area stretch to the canvas. So then our text will need to be brought down, of course. Oh, right, it's on the layer. There we go. So there's our wonderful text. And then now I can move this into any position that I want it to go. I think I'll need to alter it slightly. We'll make it bold and we'll change it to room name, just like before. Text of 12, font of 12, I think is good enough, because you're going to see it. It's going to be pretty big, right? So that means the canvas height doesn't need to be 20. It can be probably 14 and leave some padding. And then we can change the text to vertically align. I know it's a bit difficult to see, but there's our border. So the 4 dots. I think that's pretty good. So we'll position it roughly where the other one was. Right about there. Right? So they look similar. They're not going to be exactly the same, of course. I do need to move that up a bit. The question is still, how do I set these? Does Unity... I'm just trying to think. How else can we do this? I could use the circular menu. I could make a toggle button. I could create a new menu. That would be controller friendly. I could I kind of like the radio button idea, actually, because that's very intuitive and very simple to navigate, both mouse, keyboard, touchscreen, and gamepad. I think that's what I'll probably end up doing. So let's duplicate this one, bring it down, and we'll change it to text game type. Yeah, that's what I'll do. So we'll make it a game type. I'll need to make some simple radio buttons, but I already have the code logic. It's just a matter of creating a very simple graphic. And I'll give it a background too. So it'll go room name, game type, I'll make a new object for game type buttons. Oh, it's in the wrong parenting. Still the wrong parenting. Okay, that's correct. Okay, so game type will have a it'll have a background, and then it'll have 2 buttons. So let's do the background because that's easy to do. So we'll add a sprite render. And then what I want to do is I want to add I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Sprite render, and then we'll bring it up, whoops, not that layer, on the UI layer. And we'll bring it up to layer 9, I guess. It looks rather faint. I thought it would be full white. simple, we'll change that to sliced. Now that I think about it, this should be restructured. So game type will encompass text game type. So text game type will be a part of game type. So then I can move the whole thing. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so with that, I think that makes a bit more sense. Let's move this up order-wise. And then we'll move this on the X, we'll move it up. Not sure where I want to put that. I'll figure that out. But basically, it's going to be game type. And then the two radio buttons that I'll make, one on the left side, kind of coming up to the middle area, one on the right side, those will have the two values for teams and classic. I think that'll make it really easy for navigation-wise, for gamepad, and for touchscreen. And mouse and keyboard, of course, will work naturally. I just think vertically it's a bit too big right now. So let's bring that background down a little bit. Think about there makes more sense. Yeah, I think that makes more sense at this time. So for right now, I'll just make some whatever objects. Let's take this, duplicate it. Temporary button placeholder. Okay. And then we'll make it a width of, let's say, one height of, we'll say 0.2, and change the color. So that's where one of the buttons would go, approximately, right? And then I'll just duplicate that. And this is where the other button would go. Now I can nudge this up. Yeah, I think that will make sense. Of course, I'll make it look good, right? That's a given. I always make it look good, but functionality over visual aesthetics. Okay, so that would address game type. I'm still not sure what to do about max players. And then allow guests, password, frenzy, guild. I think all of these can roughly be used in the same way below. I just don't know how to deal with the players thing, this one. Because even if I implement I can actually do a very simple solution now that I think about it. What I can do is make another panel, have a button that'll say max players, right? And it'll show whatever the max players is. And then if you want to change it, you click on it and it will give you another pop-up panel, and the pop-up panel would basically be your selections 2 through 8. And when you select one, the pop-up panel goes away and the value changes. That way it'll be really UI friendly for mouse, keyboard, touch screen, and gamepad. And I have pretty much all of that functionality. It's just a matter of creating the UI stuff. I think that would actually work well. These are the kind of decisions that I often think about in what would make sense from an end user point of view, right? Because aesthetically, you can make pretty much anything look good, right? But it's the logical flow of navigation, what makes sense from an end user point of view, what makes it easy. So it would go from the top, game room, you don't have to set it. Type will default to classic, because I believe that's the most played one. So that will default to classic. Max players will default to 8. Allow guest will be enabled by default. And all of this will be very easily navigatable through all the input formats. And it'll look good too when I clean it up, of course. It'll look good. Yeah, I think it'll work out. I think it'll do fine. And then if you want to go back, so what I'll do is similar to this one, I'll put the no click through background similar to the other stuff. So it's a rectangle. I already have it with the script attached to it. It auto scales. I can actually bring that in now that I think about it. No click. There we go. Okay, so this auto scales. That auto scales to whatever your screen resolution is. And that both prevents click-through and also has a register for when you do click on it with touch or where is it? On pointer click. So this one here, I'll fill that in later. So on pointer or mouse click of that background, it will remove this menu, and I'll apply the same to the other pop-up panel that'll come up. And then for gamepad, you just hit the back button. And I think that would work. I think that would work well. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I think that'll do. But I'm just feeling kind of a bit out of it right now. Had a long day. It's going to be an awesome long weekend that I'm looking forward to. I really like long weekends. They're really great in that you have an extra day. It may not seem like much, but it makes a world of difference to have a long weekend, because you get to basically do all your resting that you need, all the errands that you need to chase after, and then have just a little bit of time extra for yourself and whatever else it is that you want to do or enjoy doing. Hopefully the weather will be nice. If not, that's okay too. I do enjoy having a longer weekend. But I think that's going to be it for me today. Next broadcast, of course, will be on the regular scheduled time on Tuesday. I do broadcasts on Tuesdays and on Fridays. If you like the project, if you want to follow it, maybe for entertainment or just to kind of keep up to date with it, you're welcome to it. There's a Discord channel you can join. It's more about just the game and the community. It's not about development. Just people hanging out that have played the old Flash client, this client here, and the players, the community members that are looking forward to the new one, the new cross-platform client. And yeah, of course, there's also Twitter and Instagram. I post whenever I'm going live or when there's an update on the Dev Journal, which I'll post a link to. But you're welcome to follow me on all of that social media stuff. All the links should be provided already as is. If not, I'm sure you can easily find it. But if you have difficulties finding something, just let me know, and I'll look into it and see how I can address it. But that's going to be it for me today. Bye, Yuzek. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you guys in the next broadcast. So, yeah, just stay hydrated. The weather's getting warm. Something that I'm also really looking forward to. But that's it. So have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye.